Namaste and welcome to day 5, the last day of our Karnataka Explorer series. Since we have halted at the Kuki station itself the previous night, this day became much smoother. We woke up somewhere around 4 am and just before sunrise around 5 am, under the soothing rhythm of the monsoon, we arrived at the Kumaradhara river. The cool mountain breeze, the mist covered western ghats, and the peaceful surroundings made this morning feel truly special. Taking a holy dip in the Kumaradhara river is an important tradition before visiting Lord Subramanya. Devotees believe that this sacred bath symbolizes the purification and helps one begin the pilgrimage with a calm and a positive mind. Local tradition also holds that the river flowing through the forests of the Western Ghats carries the essence of medicinal herbs, and many believe its waters are beneficial for certain skin ailments. If you plan to visit, remember to take your regular bath before coming here and please avoid using soap or shampoo in the river. It preserves both the sanctity of this sacred place and the beauty of the natural ecosystem. Our next stop was Adi Subramanya temple, and we reached before the temple opened, giving us the rare opportunity to enjoy the quiet beauty of the morning. Light rain, drifting clouds, and the silence of the hills created an atmosphere that words can hardly describe. Traditionally, devotees offer prayers at Adi Subramanya temple before proceeding to the main Kuki Subramanya, making it an integral part of the pilgrimage. After visiting Adi Subramanya, we proceeded to the main temple. Kuki Subramanya is one of the most revered centers for serpent worship, and many devotees visit here to perform sacred rituals such as Aslesha Bali Puja and Sarpa Samskara Puja. Since these rituals involve specific procedures and temple guidelines, I'll be covering them in a separate detailed video to help pilgrims plan their visit with confidence. As we collected our Aslesha Bali tickets the previous evening, everything went so smooth. Being among the early batches allowed us to complete both the ritual and darshan comfortably before the larger crowds gathered. We returned to our accommodation, packed our luggage, and then had the blessed Annaprasadam before beginning our journey back towards Bengaluru. According to the customs followed here, devotees are advised to avoid onion, garlic, and non-vegetarian food until they reach home and prepare the prasadam using the sacred coconut offered at the conclusion of the rituals. So, if you're planning to perform any of these rituals at Kuki Subramanya, please note this point. If your journey is long and eating outside becomes unavoidable, the temple tradition advises devotees to first partake of a small portion of the prasadam such as the little mishri or a piece of blessed coconut and then have simple vegetarian food. These are regarded as important part of completing the ritual in accordance with the traditions followed here. So it is always advised have the temple meal and resume your journey to avoid any kind of inconvenience later. And with that, our 5-day Karnataka Explorer series comes to a beautiful conclusion. But this is only the beginning. In the coming videos, I'll be sharing detailed guides on Aslesha Bali and Sarpa Samskara Pujas, the fascinating Manjusha Museum, Mysuru and its nearby attractions, and the spiritual stories behind many of the sacred places we visited during this journey along with the Sthala Purana. One important advice: most of these heritage temples in Karnataka allow only traditional attire both for men and women. So, men are advised to carry a set of dhoti or pancha along with them because at some places and some pujas, even a formal pant is not allowed. Women are allowed to have traditional Indian dresses with a dupatta. If you have traveled with me through this series, I hope you loved it. Thank you for being a part of it. Until our next exploration, this is Timira Samhari, the soul of Bharat, signing off.